we are back in the studio as a result of a bit of the still overcast weather coming at us, but a nice stakes day that we had, still having some, a bit of that Hurricane Ian weather coming at us.
Ian just won't go away.
No.
Rain's supposed to pick up a little this afternoon. A lot of rain yesterday, just a steady kind of rain. There's still some sprinkles in the air right now. And then we're going to get some wind on Monday and Tuesday.
We are.
Ian, go away. We want to get back to the turf and back to a fast track. But the good news is we knew the forecast, right? So
we knew the forecast coming.
Anticipation of that
back here in the studio. We are off the turf today and a sloppy track. But let's go ahead into, we do have a track view today. Again, we do, as you can see, we have that sloppy sealed track. There's a bit of a breeze going today, hitting the high 50s. And again, that wind is why we are not outside, Dave. And with that, let's kick on to the starter allowance, going 6 furlongs here on the dirt. Dave, you land on Rockefellers, which I had I had flipping over in my exacta.
Yeah, I could have gone either way there, but with the scratch of 2, Prince Jersey Town out of the first race. I think maybe some of the speed to test Rockefellers may be gone out of here. So I went to the speed in Rockefellers, thinking he's going to try to splash all the way. He and the Wolfman have met before. I think this is their 7th meeting, if I count correctly, together. So they're old rivals. And inside is Boondoggle, who seems to be improving. Might have to pick it up to win. And to round it out, Tom Terrific, 3, 4, 1, and 6. But there you have a 9-year-old Rockefellers. Age is just a number to him, right? 10 of 44 lifetime, and he's won 3 this year at the age of 9. His best attribute, of course, is his early speed, and he looks like he's with a clean break. He'll try to go to the front and take them all the way. The Wolfman comes out of a strong race there, dead heating with a horse named He's Incredible, who won at Delaware the other day in strong fashion, was a daylight winner with a big number 2. So in 3, 4, 1, and 6 here, and could have gone the other way, but we'll see. Rockefellers' price may come down a little bit now with the scratch of the 2.
I think that's the biggest thing, especially with the scratch of the 2. That was your projected speed along with Rockefellers. Rockefellers is really the lone commanding super speed here, so it's just up to the Wolfman to be able to come off of the pace a little bit on the slop, where the last time we did see him on a sloppy surface, he went for it and didn't really have much to offer at the end. So hopefully they change it. They still keep that tactic from that off of the win last year. Every time these guys match up, I just flip-flop them. So it's the Wolfman's turn this time for me. I'm always just a huge fan of Rockefellers. I love that these older horses just really grinding it out. And with that, starts race number 2 as our Dave's early pick 4. He's got a ticket lined up for us. Dave, how do you play it today on a muddy day?
Well, I really kind of like Fletcher in here, but didn't feel like singling him since it is a 2-year-old, right? And going 1 1/8 off the turf. Maybe some horses will appreciate the distance, appreciate the wet. I thought the 3rd race a bit more wide open, and especially the 4th race more wide open. So I spread there 3, 4, 6 in the 3rd, 4th race 5, 7, and 10. And in the 5th race, a lot of people are going to probably single the big number by your number 8 recruiter, but maybe Johnny Z from Albany can have a say in here. So I wasn't comfortable singling either one of them, though I did pick Johnny Z on top, the 4 in the 5th race. We'll get to that in a bit, but I had to throw in the 8 just in case he repeats that big number, especially now with some scratches in the 5th race. He's going to try to get out there control.
Exactly, with Cal Lynch putting out these nice 2-year-olds. And again, both of those I play the same way on my ticket, as we'll see a little bit later on. But in race 2, this is a maiden special weight. So from 9 furlongs on turf, a mile here on the dirt. And Dave, you land on the number 3, Fletcher, as your best bet of the day today for Chucky Lawrence and J. Ron Barbosa.
Yeah, I went 3, 10, 2, and 5 in here. Let's take a look at some video. I believe we have first of Fletcher, then we'll do a nice little stat there with Barbosa and Chuck Lawrence. Fletcher finishing 2nd. He was head-to-head at the 8th pole there. Ira the Icon wound up winning the race. It was a good effort. Made a nice rail bid there. Down to the inside and just got turned back, right? So there is Fletcher. Good try. Now, the key here today is we have an off-track A. B, they're stretching out. He's only been out twice, 5.5, 7 furlongs. A lot of these horses, 2-year-olds, stretching out for the first time. I think those two things will help him. He's by Blofeld, and he's also by a sire on both both stats, wet on 20% on the wet, 29% dirt route. And he's with Geron Barbosa aboard today, or Chuck Lawrence. Rode him last time out. Look at this stat in the last year. Barbosa, Chuck Lawrence together, 20 starts together, 6 wins, 30% positive ROI. Anytime I see these two team up, I take an extra hard look. So the dirt route, 29% for Blofeld. He's turning into a great wet track sire as well. I think he'll like the extra distance. Icy Intent probably going to be his main rival. The two easy as ABC. Arrowgate also a very promising wet track sire as well, with a big number on wet track winners. Ran behind Splendor Beauty. He didn't run that well yesterday, right off the board in our stake, but I'm going to let that go by and thinking that maybe he'll like the off track here, and he's been consistent picking up checks in all 3 starts. And Sir Lumpalot throwing that one in on the bottom. Oh, there he is, Tonalist. Another off-track sire. And he's run well on the sloppy track debut, going mile to 16th. And one note on this horse, I do remember in watching him, Sir Lumpalot, when he got a little kickback in his face, I don't think he liked it a lot. So I don't know what the plan is going to be today. When he got some mud kickback, it was a sloppy track that day at Pimlico, so maybe try to keep him out in the clear could be a plan.
Could be a plan, especially when Brittany Russell is 20%, hitting as a barn trend 20% with these second-time routers. So when you have a horse, he doesn't have the inside rail position as he did last time out. Gets a little bit of a reprieve. Sheldon is probably going to get this horse a little bit further up there and just really try to do his best to give this horse a clear path. A positive experience is the biggest thing that I think they're looking for with Sir Lumpalot. I put in the 12 on top, candidate for Arnaud Delacour. I still think that even on the mud, I'm still pretty confident in this one. Again, this one does draw in off of the outside. I think that's also the biggest advantage. Now, while it's a first-time starter, that doesn't really, when it's back there in the chute, I'm not too worried about that. But again, I think this horse I'm still pretty confident with this horse on the mud first time going here.
Well, he's by exaggerator.
Right.
That's all the mud you need right there. Interesting that he has bullets from the gate at Fair Hill, right, on the dirt, and he's got some good works on the synthetic there as well, yet they elected to start him out of route of ground and keep him in the race here, transferred from the turf to the main track. So it could be anything, right?
It could be anything. I was struggled. I might switch things around and I think I should put Sir Lumpalot into that mix just because he's bitonalist. So, and you do have Brittany, who's been, still staying steady with these second-time routers. So give him a little bit of a chance. He has this experience, but I'm just kind of being a little cautious. Maybe it took a bit out of him on a sloppy surface. It's always such a hard ask when they're going long for the first time, 2 turns, and on a wet track. But race number 3 is this claiming 40 for 3-year-olds, which have never won 6 furlongs here on the dirt debut. Land on the number 4, One America for Claudio Gonzalez and JD Acosta coming in at a nice 12-1 price.
Yeah, he's going to be my value play of the day. Keith has him at 12-1 in the morning line. I think you get a good price on him. American Freedom, anywhere from 12 to 15% with off-track winners, sprinting, maybe a little less than route horses. This is a sprint today, but I do like that race. 2 back at Monmouth on the grass, was second in there, and a horse bounced out of that race to run a whopping 80 buyer figure. No, not on the turf, but on the dirt. So he prompted a pretty good pace that day. Didn't like that good going at Pimlico on the turf. He looks like he's got ability on the grass and on the dirt. This is only 5th race here in the cycle for Claudio Gonzalez and Super C Racing. They got a win out of him on the dirt. Second place finisher out of on the turf, and it looks like maybe a horse could improve a little bit at this stage, coming back from a turf to a dirt sprint, turf route to dirt sprint. So 4-6 Jet Speed. There's going to be some video here of Jet Speed. We have the race at Mama 2 back. He had a little trouble in the race, studied at the 5-ace pole, nice 4-wide run, and finished 3rd. He had trouble early, made a looping run around the around the turn, and then through the stretch. was repelled by the judge and jury, who you saw there was a Jamie Ness horse that drew off. Was a beaten favorite that day, but he spiced her. There we go.
Spitzer,
Plenty of off tracks today.
Exactly, 16, and that's kind of what you have to play it a little bit by, 16% with the Spitester. I going with the number 9, Mad Genius for Anthony Ferrier on top. Uncle Lino, not bad with his wet dirt either, but then I'm also looking a little bit at that effort back at Laurel to back at that claiming 40, probably taking back that off of the pace approach as well. I would think. You never know what Farrier's thinking with the bug on, but this is first after the claim in the new barn. They're confident that this horse will handle the off going okay.
Yeah, and if you like the one Liberty Star, I think we both have them in the mix.
Yes.
I think you got to like the 3 sponsored in here. He followed the move of Liberty Star widest at Timonium, last out on August 26th at the Bull Ring there, and I thought it was a good third. Didn't really gallop out past them, but I thought a good effort, and then he followed that move wide on the Bull Ring track today, coming back to Laurel Park, making his second start at Laurel, and this is where he broke his maiden by 7. Didn't beat a lot that day, but maybe he likes this track, and he could improve a lot today as well. So 4, 6, 3, and 1.
I go 9, 1, 8, 3 for race number 3. Race number 4 starts our rainbow, pick 6, and I just brought up a ticket for you guys, a cheap ticket. I went super cheap today. This is one of those. It's an off-track day.
Your tickets keep getting cheaper and cheaper, Colin.
Well, I keep getting it from Keith Fustel to keep it cheap, so gotta keep somebody happy. So I really shave it down. I do go wide in race number 8, but then I single in on the number 3, Jerry's Gem for Damon Deal DeVico, winner of the Sheldon Stakes yesterday. We'll bring that up in a bit. But going back to race number 4, this is an under $20 ticket, so feel free to add wherever you so please, guys, because I certainly left room for you guys to be able to do that. But with that being said, let's head over to this maiden 12-5. 7 furlongs here on the dirt on a sloppy track, and Dave, you land on the number 5, Doom Scroller for Marilyn McMullen. John Ovello, blinkers off this time.
Oh, Doom Scroller, don't fool me today with the blinkers off. He's run with the blinkers before. She's run with the blinkers before. Now they're taking him off. It was one race experiment to put him back on after the claim. I always thought this horse was okay. Even way back in January, she finished 4th, beaten 3 lengths, and strong finish, galloped out well, and then she's just kind of fooling everybody, including myself, since, but takes a drop today. But again, there we go with Tonalist, 23% wet track winners. He won the Jockey Club Gold Cup on a sloppy track, and maybe today will be the day. Taking those blinkers off, slight drop in class, but I'm not sold that he's a single. I went deep into pick 4, and I think you went deep too.
I did. I went deep in. I went as deep as I could go on a $20 ticket. But in this pick 6, I go with the number 7, Sakari for Kieran McGee, Carlos Lopez. This one had a decent go first time out on a sloppy track. It was a nice win. Ended up just got taken down just due to some traffic going on there. It was a big DQ, but nonetheless, the horse is a fan of the offgoing, even though this horse says it's 0 for 1 on a wet dirt. So that's what I go with.
Don't let the 39 buyer, 25 buyer, 36 buyer fool you. This is first time in the McGee barn, first time Lasix, and you can see the stat first time with McGee, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. First time with McGee, first after the layoff. It's walloping. It's great. And you also have Kieran McGee from Turf to Dirt, who's at a barn trend recently of 30% as well. So you have this horse underneath as well, but you also have the number 4 underneath, Chasing Artemis for Douglas Marone, Giordano Tunone on top.
Yeah, I went 5, 10, 7 for Sapphire Beauty's a Mosler in the mud. The 7, as we just touched on, your top pick there, and Chasing Artemis. I don't know, that last race all of a sudden was good. A best buyer figure of 50 at Penn, stretching out to 2 turns. The winner was legit. Big improvement on the winner there. Ms. Strong Heart, who ran a 60 in winning. That's all it would take to win this race for sure. Heck, the 50 would do well from Chasing Artemis last time out at Penn. Will that transfer? Daredevils on the wet, maybe another feather in the cap there. So Chasing Artemis, kind of the unknown shipper who ran all of a sudden a big race on a jump up in class from maiden claimer to maiden special at Penn.
at Penn. But let's go on ahead to the fifth race. This allowance optional claiming 62.5, 5.5 here on the dirt for the 2-year-old specifically. It's going to be a tight go with Recruiter and Johnny Z from Albany, but we both decided to go with Johnny Z. Blofeld, again, as you mentioned, throwing out some nice horses that can handle a sloppy surface.
Maybe we should take a look at the big 82 buyer number put up by Recruiter,
Yes.
right? Army Mule, first-time starter at Monmouth, popped the latches in sharp fashion. I mean, right out of the gate, sharp early is the comment. Opened up on the field, opened up on the turn, and then was the global surprise. The runner-up was making some headway late. So let's show the Recruiter
Let's go ahead
video
and
if we
take a-
have it.
Yep.
Number 8 in here, 82 buyer. There's Recruiter. Boom, good sharp break there from the gate, and the blue colors of the Nick Sana stables is co-owned by Lynch Racing and Nick Sana, and then cruising into the turn. But again, this is first out at Monmouth, going 5 furlongs. Take a look at that last 16th of a mile. What do you think? Can this horse get the extra 16th? Probably so if he's
Probably
that fast
so.
out of the gate.
Not going to be an issue.
But then again, it was Monmouth, a little speed favoring, right? And he's facing a nice horse in here, and Johnny Z, from Albany. Yeah, the horse, the runner-up, kind of almost clipped heels there.
Yeah,
Right.
drifted. It looked like the inside horse drifted out a little bit in there. This horse is still, as we could see in that film, this horse is still just a touch green, perhaps, especially with the way he went out of the gate. He shut off he completely blew up another horse to his outside coming out of the gate. So we'll see if this one, he gets a little bit of a recess with being in the 8 out of 9 horses in coming out of the gate. So
Johnny Z, we both got Johnny Z. I mean, I don't know. I just thought he was kind of out of his element last time out against Super Chow in that he had to chase. He had to
Right.
chase. He had no option but to chase. It was a shorter field. Some of the speed was out of there. Super Chow coming off of race in New York. And it was almost like, well, let's see what we have. Let's see what we can run with him.
Right.
So he may not make the lead today, Johnny Z from Albany, but I think he'll be close and maybe not used as early. He was forced to chase in the last race due to circumstances.
But he runs into the same circumstance today.
Yep.
This Cal Lynch horse is going to be flying out of the gates, and it's really up to Carlos to keep this horse, whether he wants to just keep this horse within himself, which is where he likes to sit, or try and chase, which didn't work last time again, but with Super Chow and a tough Heldish also last time out. So there's just... he gets a little bit of a watered down version of what he did last time out, I think. I go 4-8-1-9 in this race.
Okay, yeah, maybe Roll Again Dancer, the horse on the inside, right? Claimed in the Kelly Breen barn, good stat first off the claim. The sibling was an off-track winner. That may be a horse who's going to try to test Recruiter if he's fast enough, and it looks like he might be. The Calora Kid looks quick, right?
Yeah.
The 7-horse, Geron Barbosa rides there. The jockey change for Jamie Ness or Jamie Rodriguez on the 7, the Calora Kid, but I thought that race was a little bit dressed up. It was a short field.
I agree.
He got away with an easy opening quarter mile. He looks fast too, but maybe not as fast as the one. So the opening 8th, 16th of a mile here, going to be interesting to see if Recruiter can break that sharp, carry his speed.
I think that's you said it, Dave, that first 16th is essentially going to be the race right there. But without further notice, let's go to race number 6 in this maiden claiming 45. Going 5.5 on the dirt. But before that, excuse me, guys, we will head into a quick commercial and we will be right back. With hosting the Jim McKay Maryland Million that's coming up in a couple of weeks. And let's get going on this race number 6. This maiden 45, as I mentioned, 5.5 here on the dirt. And we both land, Dave, on the number 11. Your analysis for Brittany Russell and Sheldon Russell on top this time. Practical Joke, this one doesn't dislike a wet dirt either.
Practical Joke does well with the first-time starters. The second dam of this horse, Love's Blush, was just shy of $300,000 in earnings. Won the Maryland Million Ladies. This is the second full I'd love a broad here. Your analysis. The thing that got me to him was not only the practical joke win early, win first out, Brittany Russell, barn for sure, but the fact that the horse set a work here September 25th, it doesn't appear to be super quick. I'm in at 13-4, but looking at all the works that day, a half mile, 5/8, it didn't look like the track was super quick. That was a pretty good time for 6 furlongs in the morning, as the morning played out a little on the slow side, I thought. So I think this horse maybe has some gate speed, being by practical joke, and went with him on top for that reason and a couple others.
Here, reason and a couple of others. We don't need to discuss the Brittany Russell stats that are well over 30% in first start 3-year-olds, first start main claiming, and first start Lasix. But let's take a look at a couple of these horses underneath that you could maybe get at a price in your exacta boxes and what have you, and you just decide to go with the rail horse Jebster for David Howard, but a Speedster is 16% on a wet dirt.
Yeah, a lot of people are look at that and say, wait a second, hold on a second. But he is by Speedster, and there have been a couple of winners out of that race. The horse hasn't run since last year as a 2-year-old. They don't totally give up on him, right? He's in for that tag, 36,000 off time. Looked like he kind of ran evenly in that race. Couple of winners, and those horses have come back and run 54 or 60 buyer numbers as tops. That was certainly bode well for his chances in this spot, especially against some longtime maidens like Fra From or Espresso Lungo, 0 for 15, 0 for 12.
0 for 12. So
Yeah.
there's a lot. The dam sire Violence as a dam sire is doing very, very well with those second-time starters as well. So I think there's a couple of the breeding really suggests that Jebster will be able to hand this kind of day really here today. But you go with the number 7 also, Fra From, and the number 5 as well with Katie's Notion for Carlos Mencia, which Johan Rosado, I have that one underneath as well. I think great notion. It's a great notion that can handle a wet going as well.
Yeah, I think I got it pretty much covered there. I mean, Fra From was behind Mo Money, Mo Honey, right? And One America, who like a little bit earlier today, though he's 0 for 15, doesn't have a lot of early speed, and he'll kind of be plodding along and hopefully pick up some pieces in here. But we both going with the first-time starter in here. From the Russell Barn.
From the Russell Barn. Let's see what happens in race number 7, though. This off-the-turf event going 5.5 for the fillies and mares 3 years old and up. It's an allowance option cleaning 40. We both land on the 5, Shambo for TJ O'Guire. Kevin Gomez retaining the ride from that nice little win over at Pimlico, going the 5 furlongs.
It's by a turf sire out of a horse that won both lifetime wins. Both lifetime wins came on the turf. She's run on the turf 4 times. She's worked on the turf. I don't see any dirt works, but they're keeping her in the race. That's a positive sign to me.
There we go.
That's her top pick, but I think it's worth taking a look at how sharp she was on the grass, even though this race is on the main track here today, taken off the turf. I thought maybe that she'd come out of the race, but no, she's in. So, I mean, if she'd been out, or maybe if you don't really like her and don't think she can handle the dirt, maybe the obvious horse might be White Knuckle Flyer. The Dale Capuano barn of the very speedy Paisley Singing is going to benefit from the race coming off the turf. But this is a sharp win from Shambo in the white silks now, forging to the front. Not asked a whole lot in the stretch there. One little tap, just showing the whip. And will she like the off-track, main track?
Just looking at her, and watching the way her stride is just going about, she's either going to eat it up or she is not going to partake at all. So with her, I think with Shambo, it's either all or nothing. So that's just, I think that's, looking at her and looking at the race, that's kind of the way I just went and directed it at. But you have the number 11 underneath. You mentioned White Knuckle Flyer. This one hasn't really gotten a hold of a wet track yet. But this one, Dale's horses have been in good form. He's been having a little bit of luck in the afternoons, but they're still running, and this one certainly is no exception.
Well, if Shambo likes the dirt, I think she'll be in a kind of the same position as White Knuckle Flyer, because Paisley Singing benefits from the switch to the dirt here. She's very quick, but she's got a speed rival perhaps, entered main track only, Spicy Margarita down her inside. So I think those two will go at it, and probably White Knuckle Flyer will be a good striking range here. She's run on the race on the main track here at Laurel back on July 10th, a race that was taken off the turf to the main track, showed sharp speed and went gate to wire, which was a little bit surprising to me. She was a 4-5 favorite in there because her best races have been kind of off the pace on the turf. So I think she is tractable if necessary, and she may have to be in this spot with some speed to her inside, and Paisley singing and Spicy Margarita.
I think there's going to be plenty of speed in this race, so that's where she can take an advantage. But race number 8 is this allowance option claiming 47 furlongs here on the dirt for the girls. It's a girls' day today, 3-year-old and up. We both land on the number 2, Noble Bid. Damon Deal-Devico, Horacio Caramanos teamed up for a nice stakes win yesterday.
Yeah, well, she has one blemish on her record. She was
Right.
a beaten favorite at 1-2. Things never went right from the start. She was left behind horses, had to take up. You draw a line through that race.
That was an equipment. That was an equipment snap.
That's right.
That
You're
was
right about that.
That was an equipment fumble
Equipment
actually
sniff. I
football
remember
season.
that now.
But yes,
What was it? The bridle came?
the blinker was covering her eye.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
good
blinker
memory.
the blinker was covering her eye. Luckily, just went to the outside, just taken up, just saved her for the next battle. And certainly, she delivered going being 1, 2, 3 in those next of races, but winning type efforts throughout her career.
Yeah, I mean, what's her tack going to be today, Cully? I mean, I would assume that she's going to have to just break sharp and catch me if you can on this off-going in the spot. I mean, she's going to have to
Agreed.
try to stay out of trouble, but she's game. She can close. She did close a little gap and was beaten in a photo finish, running third at Delaware, only a neck last time out, but comes back to a track she really loves. 2 wins, 2 seconds, and of course the doesn't count race with 6 by
Yes.
33.
Yeah.
Your memory jogged my memory with that equipment malfunction. Oddball. I don't think I've ever seen that really.
That was the first time I've ever seen
Yeah.
it. So luckily, here's the thing: she came out of that race safe. Horacio
Yeah.
did the right thing in pulling her up, but she just really a filly that hasn't disappointed. I was talking to Damon. I said, "Hey, how does this filly handle the wet surface in the morning?" And he just gave me a little bit of a not quite sure. They don't train necessarily too hard on these wet surfaces, which is, to be fair, just trying to save these horses here for the races, which is absolutely fair enough. But if he has enough confidence to put her in this race, she's ready to go. I think she's going to handle this wet surface no problem.
Well, what about Alta Vallecita? She likes the wet track. She's 2 for 2 in the wet, and her biggest number came over this track. December 31st, 78 by your figure on the off track right here at Laurel Park. She has speed to stay close no matter what the pace scenario is, and she's very consistent. Beaten last time out by I Can Run, one of her rivals this afternoon, but because it rained, I mean, they got to love that.
They're going to absolutely, they're cheering. They're having I feel like they're having a little bit of a celebration already. And with with Noble Bid kind of going for it, these are, I mean, the 4 and the 5, that's their only play that they can do. I Can Run has a little bit more tools in the tool belt. I want to say this one maybe have a little bit more tactics, can sit off a little bit, can be up a little bit closer. I can see, the way I see it going is Noble Bid in front, I Can Run right behind an Alta Velocita right behind them. The Alta Velocita especially, it's encouraging to see on that muddy and sloppy performances can still keep up that turn of foot type of performance.
Yeah, the race kind of runs through Noble Bid, I think, here. Because of the off-track, Alta Velocita could be a good alternate play, especially if you're going to get a better price.
Exactly.
As they go to the gate on her. We'll see how they wind up.
See how they wind up. We both use Canoodle underneath because why not? She's in good form. She's always going to be trying. Muddy surface is really the biggest possible tick I have on her, but we'll see. But really, it's 2, 5, 7, 4. Split in different ways between Dave and I, but we get to our nightcap here for this lovely weekend of racing that happened despite the not so lovely weather. In this claiming 16, never win 3 6 furlongs here on the dirt, and we both land on another Damon Deal-Devico horse, Jerry's Gem, with J-Ron Barbosa on top.
That's your single in the pick 6,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So first, let's take a look at the video of the win on the sloppy track, Jerry's Gem, number 3 in the 9th race. Wow, this is a horse who just loves
it. Look
the
at her.
off track, right? You can
Look
just
at
see
him.
it.
Yep.
Everybody just kind of struggling. So the Deal-Devico barn, they did a rain dance perhaps for this horse at this level. They did a rain dance yesterday. They got Armando R in the winner's circle. Got to find out what that dance is anytime I like a horse in an off track, because just the way that he's gliding over it, points out that now, knowing the forecast a couple of days ago, I know Keith Fiesel, when he did the morning line, told me he knew it was going to rain all weekend,
Right.
Saturday and Sunday. So that's the reason you see the 2-1 in the morning line. On a fast track, probably not. He probably would have made the horse a little bit higher in odds. So that's the reason you see the 2-1 and the reason he's the morning line favorite in this race. And I think he'll go favorite, I assume. I believe so. Keith hopes so too.
Probably.
All right.
Yes.
So can anybody beat him? Yeah.
Can anybody beat him? I sent a typo to you guys. I just wanted to put that on because it is my single, but currently you don't see Jerry Zim as my top selection. Jerry Zim is my top selection,
Okay.
but I'll discuss that with my crew a little bit later. But referring to the horse that could possibly get at him would possibly be let's take a look at the number 5, Appraisal for Kelly Breen. This one having an okay run on a sloppy surface. This one's going to be chasing. This one's going to be chasing a little bit, but depending on what kind of mood Jerry's Gem is, maybe perhaps he can get a little bit of a bite of it.
Yeah, owners, trainers apparently like what they see when they look at his form. Right, he's been claimed many times this year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe, times this year. For appraisal, and now he's in the Kelly Breen barn. First time in the Breen barn that I can see. He's been Lucas Broberg, Bonnie Lucas, Martin Ramos, and so now first time Kelly Breen, second time Kelly Breen, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But he did run a big number, 67. I thought it was a pretty quick race for that level, and he's 21-1 and finishing second. And off track, well, he's finished second on the off at Oaklawn Park. Again, the non-winners of 2 there. So appraisal, if Kelly Breen can move him up a little bit more, certainly. But it doesn't look like he's got as much speed, perhaps, as Jerry's Gem. Heads or tails?
Heads or tails is a possible one. I mean, the Claceris barn has been on a roll lately, especially just looking and taking a look. We're cutting back in distance, which this gelding does appreciate. And the last time we saw this horse on a good surface, that was that was second with Claceris, where they were a little bit cold in the beginning of the year. And again, now we're heating up. Now we're putting these horses in these proper places. That was a starter optional at Aqueduct, going a mile. Now we're at claiming 16, going short. This is what this one likes. This one we have yet to see anything happen on a sloppy surface, and that's my only caveat against heads or tails right now.
Good trip. Solid number last time out. I'm a little questionable about what he beat last time out. Bowie two-step and Panamine.
Right.
I know visually it looked good, and he had a good trip in doing it. I just think this is a little tougher field, honestly, than he faced last time out for heads or tails. So hoping that Jerry's Gem will like the off-going as he did. I mean, I thought he ran a big race at Timonium September 5th. It was a much tougher field. He went off 7-1 in there against Mr. Mox and a next out winner of the Dale Capuano barn, Jackie A., who came back to win here at Laurel Park following the Timonium meet. So speed, a good asset for him on the sloppy going today.
On the sloppy going, Dave Rodman 3-5-2-4, and I will be 3-5-2-7 in my picks. But let's head over to Lightning Round to wrap up this weekend of fun. We still had some nice races going on yesterday, despite the fact that the Laurel Futurity was on the turf, but congruent. An interesting horse, whether he was on the turf or not. A nice winner for Tammy Bobo, Luagamo Racing Stable for Antonio Sano. Made a bit of a nice rail trip around the entire time. In the Shaladin, we've got Factor It In for Jorge Rui, Carlos Mancia, and Michael Sheffrey's getting his first stakes winner as an owner.
Yeah, this is a big race because he was down inside. Looked like he was taking the worst of it. And the pace was good, and he liked that. But getting out of that spot and then drawing off like this, very impressive. Congratulations to Michael Sheffrey's first win. He puts a lot of money in the game, claims a lot of horses, and it pays off finally. That's a solid horse.
We see Born Dapper winning the Salima Stakes for Jonathan Thomas for August and Homebred Augustine Stables, looking to stretch these girls out, excited to see what this filly will be able to be showing us next. But in the Twix that we're seeing, we're taking a look at Battle Bling, who took a bit of a questionably late charge. I remember watching that race, and I said, are you going to do this move right now? But Angel felt he had enough horse to do it, and certainly it shows. Coach coming up with a nice finish as well. That was the projected favorite, but Battle Bling winning as a 9-5 favorite for Rob
That was really a good. The winning move was down the backstretch when he went for it and opened up.
And then we've got Damon Deal Vico with Armando R winning the Japan Turf Cup here. A nice win for the home team.
Yeah, there's Armando R, who needed a fast pace, got it. And I tell you what, didn't you pick Beacon Hill on top yesterday? I think you did.
I did not. No, I had Beacon Hill fourth, I believe.
In there? Okay.
Yeah.
But I thought he ran a big race in there. I mean,
Keith Fussell picked Armando R on top.
Yes. Yeah, Armando R. Yeah, but Armando R needs that fast pace. They took a shot, entered him MTO. Rain came. The pace was fast, and a deserving win there for a hard-knocking horse when he gets his pace.
Exactly. But another hard-knocking horse that represented Maryland over in Delaware was where she told me to go in the Newcastle, winning just a nice gutsy finish from this one. We get to see a nice little battle happen here for Brittany Russell and for Madacat Stables. 10 Strike Racing, Michael Kisber, and BTR Racing as well, bred by David Wade.
Odds on, and if you had this odds on horse at the top of the lane, you were rooting every step of the way. But his class pulls him through right there. And I tell you what, he's close to $1 million in earnings right now. He can go over that.
Oh, he's going to go over that.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can go over that for 2022. But Dave Rodman's best bet and value play on this Sloppy Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Fletcher in the second race. I keep wanting to say Fletch. In the second race, probably do that in the call. With Duran Barbosa, the stat we had early, Chuck Lawrence, Duran Barbosa off track for Blofeld, 2 turns for Blofeld, a lot of signals pointing the right way. And in the third race, value play.
Value play in the third race, One America.
Claudio Gonzalez, the horses run well on the turf and the dirt, and kind of basing this on a good race at Mama 2 back on the turf. Where a horse popped out of there and ran big at Delaware. Next time out with a big buyer number. I mean, I don't think he's any kind of single at that price, but I think you got to use him. This kind of horse in the value play you want to use at least in the exactas, right?
There we go. Dave Rodman with a value play, and we'll be right back with this guy for changes and scratches. Thank you for joining us here this Sunday here at Laurel.
Good luck.